Oh, good. Welcome, everyone. First, a quick check. I'll have you automatically muted whenever you arrive. That's just to decrease the chance that we accidentally overlap. First, just thumbs up if you can hear me. Okay, excellent. That's what I love. Okay, wonderful. Thank you for showing up live. I'm so excited. I'm seeing some familiar faces and I'm seeing some new faces. So welcome, everyone. Oh, it's wonderful. We're going to give it just a minute. I kept the lines closed until the last second just so that I could finish up my slides. If you've been with me for a while, you know I use my slides to kind of keep myself focused. I also did not do my normal tidy up, so you can disregard my piles of notes over here. All right, so I'm going to give it about 1 minute and then we'll open it. And I'd love to know, as think about this as we're going into it, just, like a check-in. How are you feeling with everything right now? We're in the middle of a global pandemic and we've got a lot of empaths. So I'd really love to know how you're feeling and what's going through your mind and heart. And as we kind of go into this, I just want to remind you that in unprecedented times and in unprecedented situations, there's no such thing as a wrong emotional reaction. The emotions will come up in whatever way they need to in the moment. And our jobs as the spirits that inhabit the body, so good to see you, Amanda, as the spirits that inhabit the body, our job is to help guide the body and the mind to wherever it needs to go. Sometimes we might have to prioritize some physical action, right, especially in times of emergency. But for the most part, we will have the opportunity to really guide the body, the emotions, and the mind to a place of greater peace, of greater compassion, and of greater love and understanding. And when we do have that opportunity, I recommend it. So, all right. We've got a good group of folks on. So I just go ahead and raise your hand if you want to share. How are you feeling and who wants to share like how they're feeling and where they're at? So, okay, Maureen, I see you first. Go ahead. Let me know if I need to unmute you.
I think I got it. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. So I've kind of been up and down, like I've been fighting this conflict. I'm trying not to get down. I mean, I work at a medical center, so I kind of self-isolated myself, but my time for that's going to run out because, my boys are very, very high risk in all of this. But while I've been home, I've been trying to spend a lot of time with them, but also like put stuff out on the internet to try to cheer other people up.
Yeah.
Because I figured that's a way I could try to lift my spirits. I'm sending Reiki to my center that I work at every day to try to protect my coworkers and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I still get dragged down by the funk of it all,
Right. Yeah. So first I want to, you're seen and heard here. And also, I've been in this similar boat where it's that up and down, 1 minute, like a deep sense of peace. Everything's connected. I can tune into the all is well. And then the next, something will make me feel less safe and secure. So you're not alone in that experience at all. And thank you for being here. And thank you too for doing the work in healthcare. I know, self-isolate as long as you can. I know that it's a blessing to your family for as long as you can. But you'll also be blessing people when you do have to go back. So thank you for the work you're doing. And also thank you for focusing on the Reiki, because we need everything right now. We need it all. So thank you so much, Maureen.
I mean, I can't do anything else because I'm not there. And I feel bad for the people who are brave enough to be there because they have families too. They just don't have,
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I overreacted. My bosses were even like, you want to do it now? I'm like, well, I want to see what's going to happen, like what you guys are going to do to protect the workers and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, it's not looking great, but, you know, I
Yeah.
won't keep insurance if I don't go back. So I do have to go back eventually.
Well, you
So
broke up a little bit there, but it sounded like you're debating whether or not you want to go back. Is that what I heard?
I'd rather not, but I have no other source for insurance. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
that's
So,
kind of the kicker right there.
all right, we're going to put that in our, we're going to be doing a prayer in just a bit, and we're going to put that in there too. How many here, by show of hands, feel nervous about changing things too much because you're afraid your insurance or your health protection is going to go away? We got a lot of Americans here, so yeah. Okay. All right. Good. So we got Maureen, but we'll put that there, especially since you're also working in the healthcare industry. Okay, great. All right. So who else? And I'm going to go ahead. Oh, you already muted yourself, Maureen. Great. Who else would like to share? Show of hands. I'll call on someone. Okay. Yes. And Dana or Donna? I'll unmute you. Okay. Did I unmute you? Which one is it?
Dana.
Dana?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. How are you feeling?
First, I want to thank you for doing this. I think it's really amazing and so beautiful that you're doing it. I'm feeling good for the most part. Like, I don't know how to explain this other than the fact that I'm very intuitive, and I really feel that things are not as they seem and that there's so much good that is happening. And I just like, I can't explain it. I just know that everything is going to be okay. And it's just like, what's hard for me is when I'm in the public and I sense all the anxiety from everyone. And I'm like, I want to be like an uplifter and help everyone feel better, but then I start to feel like down. But then that only happens when I don't meditate and I don't do yoga or whatever, because I'm just trying to find work, because I'm out of work right now because I work in a school. So I'm like
Mm-hmm.
trying to keep a balance between, okay, find a job, like finding work. I'm putting flyers everywhere, offering tutoring and different things, and then meditating and doing all my healing stuff that I love to do, and then yeah, trying to help people to understand, like, just that are looking for answers, and support them, those who are open to it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's beautiful. And, again, show of hands, how many of us are empaths here? Like, I tend to attract empaths. So do we got pretty much all empaths here? Almost. All right. Good. So Dana, your experience is going to be really common. I get allergy shots every week, right? And so went up on Wednesday, like I always do. I went a little bit earlier, to help take the load off and decrease anyone's exposure. If we can space it out, I figured less exposure. And everyone there was so tense, right? And I was sitting there like, okay, I'll just transmute the energy while I'm sitting here. And I'm going to teach you some of those techniques today. But it is definitely a time to get a bit religious about whatever techniques you use to take care of yourself. This is a really good time if you have a bad habit of saying you're going to start some self-care routines and then not doing it. Now's a great time, to just bring those in. And it's also a time, especially as empaths, when we learn how to do this, you can go to public places and be the light that helps other people feel peaceful and calm, even as they are in action, like washing their hands, doing whatever the guidelines are for the area at that time. None of those actions require panic or fear or adrenaline, right? And so we can all do our part to not only, most people are going to be doing the physical actions, not everyone, but most people, hopefully. But all of us who are called to do this deeper spiritual work can also learn how to work with the energy and transmute it and release it. So Dana, I think that's really beautiful. And I'll teach you some techniques today on how to do that so that you can feel a little bit better.
Thank
Great.
you.
Yeah. Yeah. Wonderful. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and put you back on mute, and I'm going to see if anyone else, who else wants to share? Yes, Colleen, I have unmuted you.
Hi.
Hi. Good to see your face.
Thank you. It's good to be here. I'm so glad. I was worried and concerned about you, having not heard from you. So I'm glad This is such a gift.
Oh, thank you.
I teach dance, and I also have Airbnb, and so both of those are non-existent right now. And I'm finding that where I put my focus makes all the difference. So in Oregon right now, we're having beautiful sunny weather in Portland, which is huge. I have a garden I love to work in. I've been doing some outdoor projects, which are like creative work for me. Even though it's work, it feels very creative and very just giving yummy energy to my soul.
Mm.
I have a workaway guest living with me right now who is of a similar mindset. So we've made it our practice in the mornings to do yoga together. She's a yoga teacher. And so I'm finding exactly what you said, all those things that you kind of work hard at doing for a long time, and, like going to the gym type of practices, but the sort of spiritual practices are making all the difference for me. And there are a few times, like one of the times was like, I have a construction project going on. And in order to refinance my home to get the money to finish it, I have to do the projects, which are going to cost me money. But how do you spend money when you know it's not coming in? And if I think about it and worry about it, it's just like this downward spiral. It can happen really quick. And as soon as I feel that, it feels so uncomfortable that my practice is like to go to the spiritual place. So somebody sent me a letter or an email the other day with the phrase, money is like oxygen.
Mm.
The energy of it, we breathe it in, we breathe it out, we breathe it in, we breathe it out. And so standing on a ladder painting has given me a lot of time to think. And so instead of being in that place of it's not coming in, it's like, how can I be in service to my community, to all of our dancers? And so I've never done this before, but I want to do what you're doing right now, is just open up like a Zoom call, because we have a lot of dancers who are missing that. It's kind of like their drug of choice. And, so if we could have a Monday night and a Tuesday night, just different calls like this, and then just, maybe what are you grateful for right now? What's working for you in this time of being apart? And I'm not exactly sure, but I've had time to think about that. And then also, if there's something that I could do, like a video I could create or something that I could give them and they could donate, it could be $5. Or if they need it, it could be nothing. But when I go to that place, it gets me really excited because I know that the universe, keeps the circulation going. So if I can give out the energy in terms of service to these people that I love, it'll be kind of a fun way to see what the universe brings back. So instead of worrying about what's going on out there, because there's nothing I can do about that, not much, except for all the rules that we're supposed to be doing, I try to really bring my thoughts back to where can I be? My garden, my painting, the possibility of what's going to happen on my cottage has really filled me with a lot of hope and a lot of creative energy. The other thing that just has been so wonderful is my kids. We're all texting back and forth, and I have grandchildren, so I get to see these grandkids. And the other thing, I have 5 siblings and my mom. We're all on a text thing, and we're all over the place, and our lives are all different places. But it's almost as if we're reverted back to the humor of when we were in high school and driving my mom crazy. It's just been like, what would have brought us all together?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, just their goofy ways of being when we were kids has really elevated the energy in my home. So
I love that.
Yeah, being connected. And that's what also makes me realize I'm not alone, even though I basically live alone. I have people that come through my home through Airbnb. I have a couple from Argentina that's quarantined downstairs, basically. Not really, but they're here for 5 months.
Mm-hmm.
And wonderful people. So it's like, okay, we're in this together, and just, trying to keep the focus on what we can do about anything.
I love that. I love that you're returning your focus to your point of power. Yeah. And you're, how many of you have been doing spiritual work for a while now? And it's like, oh, this is so helpful right now, right? It's like, oh, this is the benefit that my friends and family didn't understand. So thank you so much for sharing, Colleen. That's wonderful. And is it Dane Ferna? Okay, I'm going to unmute you. All right, could you just say your name so I know I'm pronouncing it right?
It's Dane. Well, my name's Danette, but I go by Dane. So
Okay.
yeah, Dane is fine.
Dane, all right, thank you. And I'm going to mute Colleen. Okay, great. So share, Dane, what do you want to share with us?
Well, perhaps you can unmute Colleen because it was a comment
okay.
to Colleen. I feel like you mentioned the Zoom. If you came on and did like a daily dance class via Zoom, I would be there every day, I promise you. Especially being cooped up in the house. I have my 2 sons who have schoolwork, and I'm doing, the homeschool online thing, and we can't get out. And like when you just said you're a dance teacher and you're like, oh, maybe we could do something, that sharing your gift like that would be an amazing thing that would help not just emotionally, but physically as well, because I can't go anywhere. So
that
please
would be really fun. That would be super fun for me. I bet. Oh, and
do that.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
To all your other students as well, not just me, but
Thank you.
yeah.
Yes, I love that. Thank you, Dane. And Colleen, once you get it set up, let me know so I can send an email blast so everyone who's here and who's interested, will at least know about it and have a chance to tune in.
To join us. Thank you. Thank you so much, Dane.
No, thank you.
Thank you. And is that what you wanted to share, Dane, or did you have more you wanted to share?
I don't know. I'm feeling I'm in a little bit different position. I'm in ongoing cancer treatment. So while I don't have a general level of anxiety about that, I do now just because of the virus, and it makes me nervous. And so I feel like my regular spiritual practice has been let's just say tested. And so I want to get back to, like, before, when I would spend my time doing meditating or doing light reading on different things that interested me in the spiritual realm, or just reading before bedtime. Now it's kind of being like, okay, where are we at with this disease? Like, this virus, what's happening in my community? Like, again, I have to set up all this stuff with my kids and do the work and be there for them. So now I don't have as much time for myself. And so I feel challenged. And in my mind, I want to get back to getting a stronger practice. But in reality, I'm feeling like I don't have that option.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So totally, my best friend is currently finishing up cancer patients, or cancer treatments, I should say. And she's almost there. So I've heard some of them, and I'm sure you share some of her worries and anxieties. And I'm sure that you have some that are unique just to you, because it's part of the fun, of being human. So one of the techniques we're going to talk about today is something that just takes 5 minutes. And I've got some things to do that you can shift for the nausea days or the low energy days if you have them, but it's very short and it really works well with sensitive energies, etc. It's very good and easy and simple to use. So yeah, but that's one of the things we're going to focus on is simple, short things that don't take a lot of time. I think we all know all the longer, deeper things we can do, like 30-minute meditation, all for it. But if you're homeschooling kids, and trying to juggle treatments and also trying to figure out what you're going to cook, or whether it's fish sticks again, it's doing a 30-minute practice might be hard to come by.
Right.
So I'm going to teach some of the shorter, easier ones that are really good for chaotic times. Today. That way, you have something that you can use. And I've taught this to empaths who use it in busy airports, in between flights, right? They sneak off into the bathroom. Some of the folks here probably know what I'm talking about, but if you don't, you will soon. So, all right. But yeah, and we're going to do a prayer here in just a few minutes where I'm going to teach all of y'all some basics about how to transmute the energy first. Then we're going to get into some specifics. Anything else, Jane? Thank you so much for sharing.
No, I think that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, going ahead and putting you on mute. Is there anyone else? And if you're just not able to share with your video and you want to jump in, feel free to just unmute yourself. I think you can unmute yourself. Like there's,
Yep,
who's saying something? Oh, there you are, Robin. I see you.
yeah, we can. I just wanted to, I was giggling because Dane, there was, I think it was on the spiritual mechanic page earlier today. If not, it was another one, but we were all saying like nobody's getting their morning practice done until 2:30 in the afternoon. So, you know, and it's just like that. You're just like, I got up in the middle of mine and did some kind of like accounting thing. Cause you know, whatever there, you know, the shop was upside down, and then I came back in and started again, and when I finished it was 2 o'clock. So it's just like, this is what it is right now. It's, I mean, it out pictures a little different for us all, but you are not alone. And there were several people who said they were having the same. Was it you?
Yeah, it was me. It was on my
Erin, was it
personal
you?
page. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. My morning practice wasn't done until 2:30 yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's okay. And some days it falls off the page. What was another person said? And some of my work fell off the page. And I thought that was a great way to put it, you know, till you don't get it done till the next day. Oh, well, you know, you're doing what's in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you, Robin. That's a beautiful perspective and a good reminder. You know, like I have a pretty, oh, Raven, you too. Okay, I have a pretty solid practice. I'm going to get to you next. That I like every day. You know, and if you want, I can share what I do daily. And you know, like I have a little journaling exercise I do. I didn't put that in my official notes, but you know, whatever, I can show you. But like this is the way that, you know, like do your best, have the things that you intend to do daily, and then nourish yourself in every way you can. Okay, so thank you, Robin. I'm going to go ahead and unmute you, Raven, and lower your hand. I'm going to try to unmute you again. You might have to unmute yourself. There you go.
Hello, everyone. It's so interesting we're segueing into the ways we nourish ourselves because for me, one of the things that's come up is I have a partner who has been super, super high anxiety in response to everything, to the degree that even though we both work in the healing arts, he's in his mid-40s, he has not ever been the type of person that would consider getting a gun. He is among the people I know that decided a fear of civil unrest was enough to move him to go at least register for a license. And I literally had panic attacks for days in a row following that. And finally got out. I don't have a car, so I'm in a big city, and there are still plants in my, you know, my yard and around me. There's still like limited contact with the earth that I can make. But I've really been missing access without my car to get away, like the 20-30 minutes it takes to get into the hills and the trees. But I was able to borrow his vehicle just with everything slowing all of us down a couple of days ago during a rainstorm and get out with the trees. And it was truly one of the most magical times I've had in my life. And being with the trees is one of the most nourishing things I find. That's my most direct, even with all the practices I've learned from UEA and all the other ones I've known over the years. It is like, no matter what state I'm in, being in the trees is like instant access to guides for me. So it was just a really beautiful gift to get to have that in the midst of all this overwhelm. And one of the things that really came through when I was tuning in with the trees and really asking, like, not just for a message for myself, but what is something that I could share with the collective? It seems so simple, but they literally reminded me of whether it's myth or science, of the story of all of the root systems of all the plants and trees being integrated. And also, similar to whales, I've heard that trees likewise that communicate around the planet. like through the wind and their movements. And they just were literally just reminding me that it's interesting that the virus is attacking our respiratory system, and that now we're finding as a collective, we're literally afraid to be in shared breathing space, and how important it is that even in spaces like this where we're connecting virtually, to really truly keep remembering that we are absolutely integrally connected, and that our breath is one of the things that is unquestionably shared around the planet with each other, and to allow that to be something that's supportive and nourishing and empowering, rather than something that we allow to create us to contract into a space of fear. So that was the first day and the first message, and that was just a few days ago, but it was such a profound like gift to my spirit, and then definitely feeling like I need to put that out in the ethers a little bit more. Interesting, Colleen, your idea to do a Zoom dance. I'd actually shared a similar idea for a dance with my honey, but the other thing after that time of the trees was that I was like, maybe I just need to do a Zoom call where I'm like, hey, people just get on here and breathe with me. Like, we just need to sit and breathe, and we can breathe anywhere, but there is, especially I think right now, with this fear of sharing breath, why not at least do it in the safe zone of getting on a camera and being like, okay, but this, we can all breathe together right here, right now. There's no risk in that, So, so that was one piece. And then yesterday, interestingly, because I didn't get out to the trees, but I was receiving a session from somebody, and that involved allowing impulses of movement to guide me, and I ended up like laying on the floor with my ear to the floor, like just in my office space. And the instant download that came through just following that physical action, it had nothing to do with anything that had preceded in the session, was this instant feeling of laying on the earth, and and I just literally was in tears, because again, like the guides came through and were like, this is your reminder that for all your stories, Raven, that you need to get out in the trees, and otherwise you don't get that quality of connection with the earth. All you have to do is literally lay down and listen. Like, the earth is still beneath every inch of concrete that we have covered up and tried to cloak her with. She is still there, and she is still pulsing and still breathing, still supporting us, even if we can't physically see her. So yeah, that's just some little nuggets of the gifts of this time that have been coming through.
I love that, Raven. Thank you for sharing. And yes, there's been quite a bit of talk. You're not the only one who got that message. There's been a lot of talk in spiritual communities from a lot of people who are professional spiritual practitioners in various walks of life about the corollary between this virus and the fact that the Amazon was on fire and was under attack, and just the general way that humans have interacted with nature in recent years.
It's so interesting hearing you say that, because that was the second journey between those three. Like, I didn't get a second day out in the trees, and that was the second thing they said, because the second day I was noticing there was it was sunny, so there was actually a lot more people. Like, there was nobody the day I was out there in the rain, and the day that it was sunny, I was noticing that my favorite stone circle that I go to, that looks like a little witch's circle. I don't know that it was ever meant to be that, but it's always been that for me when I go to this place. That like my own like paranoia of like, maybe I shouldn't sit down on it, like came in, and the message I received that day was what pointing towards what you just shared, was that that the level of contraction we're feeling around each other and surfaces, that what we're missing is that nature is feeling similar in the way that we are ignorantly just walking around without care. So thank you for that affirmation, because sometimes, again, it's good to be reminded that the messages we're getting are not really just for us, and they're not only ours, even as far as where they're coming from.
Yeah, well, one of the things, and Raven, you know this, because you've been through my trainings, we're all called to specific messages, right? So I'm going to show you, like you'll all tune in today, and you'll likely get a different message than me. And that doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. It means you're doing it right. Because the purpose of receiving messages is to receive for the heart for what needs to come through your particular body, mind, and incarnation. So it's never about trying to get the right message. It's always just about allowing what is asking to come through you. Does that make sense? That nuance? And I know you know that, Raven, but I just wanted to speak to that because it's part of the beauty. Yeah, thank you. All right. Anyone else who wants to share before we do our prayer? All right. Okay, so what I'd love for us to do is, I don't know how long this is going to last. I just don't. This will last until we're done. That's kind of my style. I have some notes in a PowerPoint, which I'll share if I need to. But, you know, the purpose of this is really just to give you support. But what we're going to do is we're going to do a guided prayer. And one thing that I'd love to do, if you're open to it, I'd love for you to like just place your hands over your heart. If you're in a place where you can, like I know sometimes you might be in the middle of something. It's okay. You can do this while you're in the middle of things. And so I'd love for you to just go ahead, and if you're not walking, close your eyes. And just take a nice breath in and release. And let's do that one more time. Take a nice breath in. Hold it right at the top. And release. And welcome all of the thoughts and feelings. Just open your heart and your mind to everything that's been shared today so far, and anything that's on your mind and heart already. Continue breathing from your stomach as you welcome any thoughts and feelings about the pandemic, any worries that might have popped up as you heard other people speak, any feelings of reassurance from hearing other people's perspectives. And now with your hands over your heart, imagine a beautiful green light growing in that heart center. And with each breath in, allow yourself to breathe in more green healing light to all of those thoughts and feelings. Even if they're good, or if they're labeled bad or uncomfortable, just breathe in that beautiful green light. And on your out breath, allow yourself to just let go. Release those thoughts, set them free. Trust that the universe and the earth knows how to transmute all of those to their highest good. And now welcome any thoughts or worries and anxieties about yourself and your personal health. If they're not present, you don't have to bring them to mind. But if they are, just breathe in that green light and surround those worries and anxieties with that beautiful healing light. Watch as they dissolve, knowing you may see it or feel it or just know that it happens. And all of that is perfect. And allow yourself to breathe in and welcome any worries you have for those that you love. And again, if you're not worried, there's no need to make it up. Allow yourself to only connect and welcome worries that actually exist in your body system at this time. And allow that green, beautiful healing light to surround and gently dissolve that anxiety. Allow those worries to simply melt away. And allow yourself to welcome any worries or fears about people that you know being harmed not from the virus, but from this situation. Welcome those fears. And allow that green light to find the fears and anxieties. and allow that green light to dissolve them, gently washing them away like the rain washes chalk on a sidewalk. Like the wind parts the clouds. And now allow yourself to open to all the blessing that transformation offers. Welcome the knowing that you can be grounded and centered. Choose to take actions that keep you and your family safe and secure, while opening to the bigger blessings that are on their way to you. And that all of these things can exist simultaneously. And that it's safe for them all to be here at the same time. And now that we're in this high, beautiful energy state, allow yourself to hold Maureen and her children and her decisions in that beautiful green healing light. Allow your focus to go to seeing her working in healthcare and remaining safe, or choosing to do anything that's perfect for her during this time. See her being guided with calm, with peace, and with the sense that all is well. Hold her in the light of love so that she feels your love when she has periods of doubt or indecision or stress. Give from the heart so that she can feel all the beautiful, loving energy that you have for her, and she can reach for it when she needs it. And allow yourself to envision Dana in a beautiful ball of green light. Envision her being a light as she goes in public to do whatever she needs to do, staying safe and being a beacon of hope and possibility, being the light in the darkness. Envision her being held in the most loving light as she goes and finds the exact right job and employment that's perfect for her. And see her completely surrounded with this beautiful green energy that she can reach to and touch anytime other people's energy might drain her in public, or anytime that she simply wants to feel that connection. And remember, you're giving this from source. You're allowing it to flow through you. It's the river of energy that flows through us all. There is no lack. And connection is our default state. And allow yourself to see Colleen surrounded by the same beautiful green energy as she does everything she needs to or wants to around the house and focuses on opening to possibility. Envision her easily choosing to tap into that possibility every moment. And if in a moment she falters, envision her being able to tap into this beautiful green energy so that she can be supported as well. Envision her holding her Zoom dance classes so that everyone can get what they need in a way that benefits all, where all are blessed and all are able to have everything they want and need during this time. And allow yourself to take your attention to Dane and surround her with beautiful green energy, healing, and light. Once again, going from source, you don't have to use your own energy here. There is always more than enough in the divine supply. And surround Dane with this beautiful green healing light. And allow her to feel that peace and calm and centeredness as she makes decisions about her care with her care team, as she navigates the risks and makes a decision that supports her health, well-being. Envision her being so divinely guided that she feels in her bones that every decision she makes is the right decision. And see her feeling calm and energetic and assured as she transitions to the homeschooling and the care during this time, feeling that all is well and that she can rely on the energy that surrounds her and the energy that's within her. And allow yourself to gently move your energy to Raven. And allow yourself to surround her with green light. And allow yourself to just send her the energy that the trees are always around her, even if she can't see them on a particular day. That the energy of the earth is as close as the ground. And surround her with that beautiful energy, that knowing that she's absolutely never alone, and that we are always with her, seen or unseen. And see as her energy is resilient and calm in the face of her partner's anxiety. And envision her treating her body and mind with kindness as she navigates these times with her partner, so that she can stay in her center, her power, and stay in attune to whatever her heart is calling her to. And now allow your attention to gently go to all of those, to Robin. Go ahead and allow yourself to envision Robin being surrounded by green light, and envision her continuing to feel grounded and calm as she goes about her day and does the things that need to get done. Feel as the energy surrounds her so that she can tap into it any time she feels the urge to overgive or to not take care of her needs because someone else might need something. And feel as your beautiful energy surrounds her so that she can reach out and receive in any time that she needs to receive or simply wants to, knowing that this beautiful healing green energy is always present, always here, and ready for her to tap into anytime she wants. And now allow yourself to bring your attention to all those who did not have a chance to speak yet, or that we didn't hear from yet. And allow yourself to envision all of those in this beautiful green energy, this same healing bubble, where whatever their individual worries or cares or anxieties are, they are so divinely loved and so held as perfect that they can feel the connection that we all have and the offering of this beautiful green light surrounding them. And allow yourself to envision each of these in health and wellness, being divinely guided for whatever is their next step for their highest good, health, wealth, and happiness. And allow your energy to open to all the people on the planet and cover them all with this beautiful green healing energy, remembering to take it from source and not your own energy stores. And envision the entire world covered with this beautiful healing light, where anyone who needs it can reach out and touch it, where anyone who's feeling panicked or in isolation can feel how unalone and how truly connected they really are, where all can feel that we truly are one. And even in isolation or quarantine, we are all still one. And last but not least, send the prayer that all are well, that those who are asking for healing receive it, that whatever divine messages each of us has will be heard by ourselves and whoever we need to speak them to. And welcome that sense of all is well. And now allow yourself to just feel into your energy. And if your energy is feeling anything but a peaceful calm, allow yourself to run excess energy through the feet and back into the earth. And allow yourself to release any energy that no longer serves you, whether it feels good or bad or indifferent. Just release anything that doesn't serve you and that's not yours. Let it go. And whenever you're ready, taking as long as you need, go ahead and do a stretch. Take a drink of water if you have it, and come back to normal external awareness. Beautiful. So how was that? Good.
Awesome.
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah. And so one of the things, the message that I got a few days ago, and if you're in the Spiritual Mechanic Facebook group, you may have already seen this. I was doing some meditation. I do meditation every night before I go to bed. I do it every morning. I do 15 minutes in the morning, and I do 5 minutes of guided meditation before bed. And then I have an audio that I listen to that helps me go to sleep. And the message I received is that while we're in this pandemic, there's never been more people who are praying for health and well-being and divine connection than ever before. And it was so apparent how easy it was at that time to reach out and touch that energy that everyone, so many people in the world, was giving to the collective. And it was so easy to, I was having a bit of anxiety, you know, and so I just reached in and touched it, and I got to receive that calmness and healing. And so I wanted to make sure that we practiced an exercise today so that you could feel what was already there. We all have that ability to tune into the collective well-being and to receive what we need, but also to give what we can. And it's okay to take when you need it, and it's okay to give whenever you're in that space to give. It's just like breathing. Yeah, good. Anyone want to share their experience?
Sure.
Yeah, Robin.
So I didn't ask for a particular focus, but I had, so it was pleasant, but it was an intense, almost like a shiver, but a tingling coolness of sensation up through my feet and into my legs and up into my torso. And it just stopped short of like going, you know, how you do when you shiver, kind of shake your body at the top. And it was, I was just like, whoa, that's good. It was palpable in my body. So
Beautiful, beautiful. I'm so glad, Robin. I'm so glad. Thank you.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Thank you for sharing. Does anyone else want to share? Yeah, Cheryl, I'll unmute you. Okay. And I'm going to mute you, Robin, just so there's not weird feedback. There we go.
Oh, yeah. I just wanted to say thank you. That was so incredible. I just felt this peace and calm just like envelop my body. And I had anxiety over my parents who are older adults. They're isolating. They're not going out, but they have workers that are coming in and taking care of them. And so that just like all of a sudden this peace washed over, and I just felt like everything was okay. So yeah, it makes me emotional, and I'm just very grateful. So thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl, for sharing. And yeah, I'm so glad that you got that peace. That was our purpose today, was to share some peace and calmness. Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and mute you, and then Dane, I see you. Go ahead.
Hi. Yeah, I just wanted to say it was so wonderful sending energy out to everyone. I used to do energy work before, and then, I kind of became really self-focused. And with that prayer and sending out energy to others and the people on this call, I was like, I remember this feeling, and it feels so good to just think about helping others and sending them energy and healing light, that it kind of reminded me who I am ultimately, not just in this particular moment, but who I am as a spiritual being in this world. So thank you for that. And thank you for that.
Yes.
I like the intimate connection with everyone.
Thank you so much for sharing. And yes, that was one of the most healing things that we can do, is to help others. And that's something that sometimes whenever we're in our own crises happen in life, there are times when we really do need to focus on ourselves. Like it's appropriate to make that shift whenever you feel the call to. And that doesn't diminish how beautiful it is to actually be in a state of giving. So thank you for being in that state with us today. Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and mute you. I know Dana wanted to say something. Dana, there we go. You're unmuted now.
Yeah. I just want to thank you. Like, I have no words. It's like we forget how the most, simple things like just breathing and visualizing is so powerful. Like, it's like, it, but then it's like the minute you're not in that vibration, you forget. It's like you have to always just remember, like, the most simplest things are the most powerful.
Yes.
And I loved when you said, like, you know, how you have all your worries and your fears, and just envision that in like a green light, like anything you're thinking of, like worries about other people. And then like I literally felt, I think like all of us doing this together is just so powerful. And it's like, yeah, it's like, it's so simple, but it's like, I feel the shift. It's all, I feel like I can feel what it's done for everyone, and it's amazing. And yeah, thank you
Mm,
so much. Thank you so much.
you're very welcome. You're very welcome. And it's my pleasure. And yeah, this is one reason I wanted to do a group call. And why I didn't really focus the group call on just those who are struggling. You'll notice my invite was open to folks who were struggling and folks who weren't. That was very intentional, Dana, because it's always, it's interesting to see who, like if everyone here was in a stark place of need and couldn't give, the energy would be less powerful because I would have to be the source for everything, right? Which that's fine. Sometimes that's needed. Sometimes that's needed. But we don't actually have to do that. There are people who struggle some moments and don't struggle in others. There are some that are not struggling at all right now. And there are some that are struggling a lot. And so no matter where we are, we can, you know, this connection that you felt today is so much less than what's available as we do this collectively over time. This is just the beginning. So thank you for sharing. And yes, the breath is one of my favorite ways to just transmute energy, which we're going to talk about very soon. So I'm going to check. Is there anyone else who wanted to say something before I'm going to go ahead and mute you now, Dana. Is there anyone else who wanted to say something before I switch to what I wrote out before I showed up? No? Okay, I don't see any hands, so I'm going to go ahead and talk about, so one of the reasons I wanted to do, I like how our opening prayer ended up being an hour in, but you know, I think I'm a huge fan of divine timing and never rushing, right? And so I think that that's beautiful. So I'm going to share my screen just so that you can actually see words. I don't know about you, but I actually absorb better if I see words rather than just hear what people say. So I'm going to go ahead and share that. Can you see my empath overview? Thumbs up if you can. Okay, good. I see nods. Good. Okay, so a little bit about why some empaths, not you anymore, are feeling overwhelmed right now. Empaths is just a type of the way that the nervous system is wired, right? You've got folks who are kind of normal-ish, or what society considers normal, and they don't really absorb that much. Everyone absorbs something, but empaths are the 5% that feel the most, and they feel other people's stuff the most, right? So we're just keeping it to that roughly 5%. And you're welcome here, whether you identify as an empath or not, it's fine. But empaths are wired to feel other people's stuff. We just are. It makes us powerful transmuters of energy. It makes us incredibly powerful energy healers. It allows us to tap into the collective and be part of the ones who help heal it, right? That's part of the beauty of it. This also means that if we're careless with it, if we're not intentional, if we're not paying attention, we can absorb other people's stuff, because that's what our bodies do. It absorbs other people's stuff so we can kind of transmute it and release it, right? Like think of it as like a processing power plant. We process and release energy. That's what we do. And if we never actually do it, then it just gets built up and it turns into blockages, and it's not a lot of fun. But it includes emotions, global emotions and energies, the energy of the earth. So Raven's very attuned. I thought she was a great example. I'm using you as an example, Raven. I hope that's okay. Of the energy of the earth, of geomagnetic disturbances. So especially in the last 5 to 7 years, you probably noticed a lot more people talking about solar storms and geomagnetic storms going on. That's because the empaths and highly sensitives can feel it. Animals' emotions, and also the physical sensations for others, for some of the empaths. So if you're around someone whose shoulder hurts, your shoulder will hurt, and it'll go away whenever you walk away, right? So part of our jobs is to transmute energy, which brings me to the divine laws to remember right now. These are the top three that I think are really important. The law of cycles, you can think of as the law of seasons, the law of rhythm. All of those are the same thing, but seasons come and then they pass. There's times of prosperity and there's times of less prosperity. It doesn't necessarily mean that there's not divine prosperity in the universe. It means that we've incarnated into a world where cycles exist. Right now, here where I live, it's springtime. So our daffodils are out, so it's daffodil time here. That only lasts a couple of weeks every year. And then the daffodils are gone and new flowers come, and then the summer's here, etc. So things cycle through. And none of these cycles are wrong. They simply are. And so you don't have to worry that you have personally miscreated and done some horrible thing to make this manifest into your life. This is a part of the divine law of cycles. This is a global thing, and yes, there are likely messages about and corollaries between the virus and messages that we need as humans cohabiting this earth with other species, right? It's a very divine message that's coming through, but also please don't take it personally. The next law is the divine law of transmutation of energy. The divine law of transmutation of energy states that all energy is neutral. Anxiety, anger, stress, I don't care which vibration you think it is neutral. And we can transform all of those energies using whatever tool we like. I prefer the breath. That's just my preference. But there are many tools to do that. And higher energy, like love, peace, and grace, will always absorb the lower ones without getting lowered. So if you allow yourself to be in a state of calm and peace, and you allow, instead of trying to push away, but simply allow the other feelings to come up inside your peace, then those negative feelings, the ones that you don't necessarily want, the anxieties, the fears, will dissolve. Whenever we did the breath exercise, we were holding it in a light, and we actively welcomed the lower energy or the emotions that we didn't really want to feed, right? We did that. It was a conscious exercise where we actively welcomed the fears, worries, and anxieties that were present in the moment. We didn't have to create anything. We were just welcoming what was present. And you'll notice that a lot of that just melted away and got absorbed by that beautiful green light. And that's because the law of transmutation of energy, that's how it works. Whenever you breathe in that light, it helps release and dissolve and absorb anything that does not serve you. Does this make sense? Are we all on board with this so far? Okay, great. And then last but not least is the law of duality. You can't have hot without cold. We've incarnated into a polarized universe. We have a magnetic pole that has a north and a south. We have a positive and a negative. We have anxiety and calm. We have all of these things. So as you're going through this time, you will have the opportunity to explore a lot of contrast in your life and in the world. And I hope you actually take that and start to think about what you'd rather have instead. Please don't just push it down. The law of duality is a really important one to keep in mind, because anytime you have something you don't want, its pair is the thing that you do want, right? Anything that you observe that you have judged as bad, there's likely also a thing that you would judge as good. And if there's something that you wish to assist the world in changing, allow that to come through you and allow this law to bring you clarity. This is the law that will give you a lot of clarity. And let me take a look. Okay, good. Yeah, so these are the three laws that I really want you to remember as you move forward right now, right? The law of cycles. Cycles happen. We get a pandemic about once a century like this. There's going to be a smaller pandemic about once every 10 years or so. And you want to make sure that you honor the fact that this is a once in multi-generational event right now, right? So again, it's a law of cycles. This doesn't happen that often, but it does happen. And then we can transform the energy, and anything that is painful or that you don't like can give you the option to find the things that you would prefer instead, which gives you the point of power to actually enact them. Okay, are we good? Are we ready to move on? Okay. All right, any questions about this before I move on to the 4 cornerstones of alignment? Okay. The 4 components of alignment, we've got spiritual alignment. Now this just means you're actually listening to your heart. We have mental alignment, emotional alignment, and physical alignment. So quick overview, and then we're going to go in depth. Spiritual alignment is when you're listening to your heart, and you're allowing your spirit to lead. Mental alignment is whenever your thoughts are matching your heart. So if your heart says you are safe, your thoughts are thinking, I'm safe, right? And then emotional alignment is whenever your emotions match your spirit. And then the emotions would be comfort and security. And then physical alignment would be, are you doing actions that support that, right? So your action might be to rest if the heart is telling you you're safe. Or it might be wash your hands after you go outside, right? Like whatever action steps you are being called to, you're taking. So that's the quick overview. And alignment is whenever your soul's energy, the spirit, your emotions, your actions, and your mental focus are all working in harmony as one. Your soul leads, and you as the soul can guide the emotions, your thoughts, and your actions to match. Now, if you're like most humans, you probably have some old thoughts, feelings, and beliefs that no longer serve you, right? So part of our jobs as the spirits that inhabit the body is to help the body release those in whatever way feels appropriate to us at that time. I'm going to give a little bit of suggestions here. I don't want to talk at you for too long, but I do want to share this. So getting in alignment is pretty simple. You want to get in touch with your soul's desire, and then you want to help your energy. Okay. Bye, Maureen. Okay, you're going to be here, though. You're listening. Okay, good. Yay, I'm glad you're still here, Maureen. Okay. But with alignment, you want to get in touch with the soul's desires, get the mind, body, and emotions on board, and then, you're good to go. And that's whenever you have effortless action. Raise your hand if you've ever been in flow, where you've had effortless action, where it just came so easily and you couldn't not do it, right? There was absolutely no resistance. So whenever you're in that space of effortless action, that's because all aspects of self are on board. And so mental alignment are thoughts. I'm actually going to change the order of this. I want to talk about emotion. We're mostly empaths here. So we're going to talk about emotional alignment first. So if your emotions are out of alignment, it's wise to do a quick assessment. Is this something where I need my emotions in alignment or not? So you might have a situation where, especially during a pandemic, you might actually need to prioritize washing your hands before working with your emotions, right? Like that's not a big deal, or whatever your action steps are. But as soon as you can, I do recommend that you focus on the emotional alignment. And there's a couple things that you can do for emotional alignment. Shadow aspects of self, tapping or EFT. I have a free forgiveness course that I don't necessarily teach tapping there, but I do teach how to release those emotions. Self-care and loving self-talk, like be kind to yourself. How would you speak to yourself if you were a child going through these emotions? Like just that very nurturing sensation. And also giving yourself space to have your emotions without judgment. Especially whenever we're doing spiritual work, I find that for some people, it gets a little bit easy to should on ourselves with the emotions. And yes, Robin says Brad Yates is great for EFT. Oh, thank you, Raven. Raven says signing up for PPM was one of those experiences of alignment for her. Thank you. But yeah, Brad Yates is great for EFT. I'm kind of thinking of doing these calls weekly. And if we do, we might do some tapping. And so so basically you want to be incredibly kind to yourself and give yourself space to have your emotions without telling yourself which emotions you should have. I think it's easy to get into a trap of feeling like As spiritual folks, we're supposed to be aligned all the time, or else insert doomsday scenario here, right? Human beings were built to have emotions. We're built to have the full range of emotions. There's no such thing as a wrong or bad emotion. I'm also not a huge fan of the whole positive or negative emotions, but I understand like it can be a useful general tool, right? So again, you know, utilize those tools, and also the breathing meditation we did is really good for transmuting that as well. So mental alignment, this is getting your thoughts on board. So basically, if you're on the go, this is my favorite thing. So if you're driving somewhere or you have to be in a public space and you don't have time to tap or anything else, you can just identify the negative thought and flip it. So I never have enough becomes I always have enough, or I can't do that becomes I know I can do it. And if you can't access the full flip, you can change it to I choose to believe that I will always have enough, or I choose to believe that I can do this. Right? It's a good way to kind of work with that middle ground as you are working through it. Also make sure you're listening to your soul. Like choose a story that resonates with your soul and keep telling yourself that story. And also ask your guides, because if you know what your guides think for you, then you will be able to tell yourself the story that your guides have already told you, which is usually way better than the story your brain will come up with anyway. All right. And physical alignment, this is one of my favorites. I'm a huge fan of taking action. People who've worked with me before know this. I think that this is another place where I feel like sometimes spiritual workers will get into the feelings and forget that actions are part of it. We get into the meditation. The meditation is so nice, right? Like the meditation is so wonderful that sometimes we don't want to leave it. It's like, this is pure bliss. Why do I have to go and do a thing whenever I could just be in pure bliss? So, you know, just remember, taking aligned action is incredibly powerful. Even if you're scared, if your soul is calling you to something and you take action, that is some of the most powerful energy you could give, even if you have some anxiety or stress, etc. Please don't let your anxiety rule everything, but taking action when your emotions are not 100% there, if your soul's already there, is fine. If you can't hear your soul, it's time to work through those emotions. And also, in general, I recommend, whenever possible, getting everything on, because effortless action is way more fun than resistant action, for the record. All right, good. So any questions? I've got the chat going a little bit. Yeah, I teach shadow work. Yes. So Kylie, I think you're in the Spiritual Mechanic Foundations course. I have a meditation in there for shadow work. So I think, let me know if you need the link to that particular lesson and I will hook you up with that. Yeah, and then Robin loves the line, shooting on ourselves. Yes, I like it too. I learned it from one of my teachers about 10 years ago and I have not stopped saying it. Okay, so we're gonna learn a new technique. This is the inner steel technique. And you will all get a PDF of this. I'm gonna send it out later, and I'm gonna warn you that I'm in talks with the designer to make it pretty. This is not, I'm not going to send you the pretty version. I'm assuming that you can just pretend like it's pretty and take the information and utilize it, and not send, like, yay, why didn't you wait 3 more weeks to tell me this when it was pretty? So we're doing this sooner rather than later. We're doing done is better than perfect here, okay? But I'm going to teach you a couple poses. Now, a couple things that I keep in mind that I really want you to keep in mind as well. You are a soul inhabiting a physical body. You are not your body. You are not your emotions. You are not your thoughts. You are a soul that has a body, that has a mind, that has emotions and thoughts. Does that make sense, that distinction? Yeah. And it's really easy to identify as the body, especially as sensitives. First off, the English language is not the best at, in English, we tend to say I am sad instead of I feel sad. And it tells the subconscious that we are those feelings, which we are not. We are not the personification of an emotion. We are human beings with a full range of human emotions. We're spirits that have a human body, I should say. So basically, the interstitial technique pairs physical stances with meditative breathing with creative visualization. It gets the mind, body, emotions, and spirit all talking at once. And the way it works is certain poses actually tell the body it's safe and produces calm emotions, confident emotions. So when you hold your body in certain ways, your body actually learns that it's safe, right, and secure, and it's safe for it to be confident. And so you will choose a focus before you get started, and it can be positive or negative. Remember, the law of transmutation of energy says that if you have an anxiety and you are holding space for it and you're in a high vibration energy, then that particular anxiety will be dissolved in that energy, right? So you can focus, I generally focus on either a goal or an insecurity. That's a good way to think of it. You choose a pose, you hold it for about 1 minute, then you bring your you bring your mind to an anxiety or a desire, and you continue to breathe in a relaxed way, and then you just hold the pose until it's all transmuted into peace, calm, and centeredness. Now, I highly recommend this bonus action of writing down any inspired action. I always write my to-do list for the day after I do this because you will be in the most aligned state right after this. You just aligned everything. So it's very easy. The benefit of this is this is 5 minutes twice a day, right? And we are bringing in some body science. Again, I'll send you that PDF. So we're going to do the Wonder Woman pose today. Now, Dane, for the days where you're feeling fatigued, you can lay down with your hands above your head like this. The only cue is you want to have your neck open as long as that's not painful, right? But you can do this laying down with your feet stretched out. You don't have to do the standing. We're going to do it standing today because I set up my office so I could stand and show you. But again, there's other poses where you don't have to be standing to do it. I've worked with people with disabilities or chronic fatigue, etc. There are laying down poses as well. If you're feeling not so hot, you can do this. The only thing is if your body's physically sick and not quite feeling well, this may or may not work, right? And I don't mean necessarily from treatments. This is more like you're fighting a bug, like a head cold. Okay. Thank you, Amanda. Good. Okay, so we're going to show this, and I'm going to move this. All right, so if you want to, I hope this isn't too noisy. All right. Oh, come on, you were the right position right before I got started today. Okay, there we go. So if you want, you can stand, but we're going to do the Wonder Woman pose. So your shoulders are going to be relaxed back and down, and your head is going to be up. In a normal sized room, you'll be looking where the ceiling meets the wall, and you'll notice my throat is open, right? The throat is always open. And if you have any injuries or tightness, tightness is fine. If you have an injury and it hurts, you can switch positions to something that's comfortable. Listen to your body. And I want you to go ahead and put both hands on your hips. I'm only going to do one so I can hold the mic. And you can do this with your eyes open or closed. And allow yourself to breathe from your stomach. And with every breath in, allow yourself to envision beautiful light coming inside of you. And just allow those shoulders to be relaxed back and down. Do a check. Make sure they're not tensed. Allow yourself to feel as your body gets calmer and more centered. And allow yourself now to bring to mind an anxiety or a fear or a goal. It can be positive too, whatever feels good to you. And just welcome up the thoughts, feelings, emotions, or mental images that come up naturally for you. And simply keep breathing as that simply drops away. And if there is a goal or an intention that you have for today, allow yourself to bring it to mind now. And hold it and allow your body to integrate that this is now easy for you, that you can take action, whatever that is, whether it is a physical action or meditation or just relax. Just trust that you will be divinely guided and feel as your body accepts that this is what you're asking it to do, that this is what you're asking it to align with. And if there's any tension or energy releasing from that integration, allow it to drain through the feet. Allow it to be given back to the earth. Okay. And hold that posture for as long as it feels good. And whenever it feels complete, go ahead and shift to a normal posture. Okay, so I think I see. Did you like that, Dana? All right, so how you feeling? I think Dana's might have frozen. I'm going to stop the share. There we go. Yeah, Robin, how was that for you?
Interesting.
Yeah?
Yeah, so it was like I downloaded from maybe 3 years back when I helped a friend die.
Mm.
And I realized that maybe that's part of what I gotta learn how to manage the energy from, because that made me sick, but I got through it. And I got an 84-year-old trying to pass in the basement.
Mm.
And my father died when I was really young, and I have a very different outlook and approach to death. I always have. So that came up in the warrior pose there, so Wonder Woman warrior pose. And just to do it with love and learn how to boundary that energy. So, but it was that letting it go through my feet part.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty huge. I mean, I felt like I was drained, like I needed to lay down. That's why I'm laying down.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
That's indicative of a good release. Whenever you're releasing a lot of energy, that you've held on to for a while,
Yeah.
A nice lie down is wonderful.
Yeah. And I knew that was hard, but I don't know, there was something different about the intention that time.
Mm.
Maybe it's just the help,
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you for sharing. And it's interesting what comes up when we're doing this, so you can always just trust that the right thing is going to come up, and you'll know which thing is appropriate for you to do next. So
yeah. Don't mean to scare anybody.
I don't think anyone's scared. They're just trying to be reverent here. Thank you, Robin. I appreciate your share. I'm going to go ahead. Oh, you muted yourself. Great. All right. Anyone else want to share? Okay, good. Did you enjoy the exercise? Feeling good afterward? Good. Excellent. Okay, so we're nearing the end here. Oh, all our friends. Yeah, we've got a dog and a cat who knows that energy work has been done. I love animals. They always know. They always know. I've got one cat, my office helper that some of you know. She woke up while we were doing the exercise. So anyway, all right. Thank you all so much for joining. Do we have any final questions or anything else that you really want to talk about or think about or discuss? Yes, Dana. Hold on. I don't think I... There you go. Try it again.
I just had a little question on the law of transmutation.
Yeah.
Could you like just like explain it one more time? Just so
Yeah.
that I understand.
So basically, the expansive energy states, the energy states where we are in that state of peace, love, expansion, absorb all negative or lower energy states. So if you're in a state of presence and witnessing, a full acceptance of all that is, and I'm not talking about, denial, like, oh, I accept it because I can't do anything about it. That's powerlessness. Hold on, I have to cough real quick. Oh, this season with allergies is fun. Okay, so here's whenever there's a lower vibration or an energy that's not as fun to experience, whenever it comes up in the presence of a higher vibration, more intense vibration, then it will dissolve. So if you're in a state of peace, love, or witnessing or acceptance, then anything that's a quote unquote lower emotion will get absorbed into it. So for instance, as an empath, whenever you're going out in public, right, you can basically envision that you are surrounded by a love or expansion where anything that touches your energy field now becomes just energy. You don't have to absorb it in the sense that you're taking it into your body and just letting it be there, right? You're asking it to shift and change. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I didn't know that that's what it was called. It makes sense. What was it? I forget what I was gonna say. Oh yeah, like, so do you suggest that, like, when you are in that high vibrational place, that you do invite like any lower energies so that you can dissolve them? Is that like...
I do. So the way I like to do it is whenever I start a meditation for myself, I almost always invite all the negative energies, right? Like I like to welcome anything that I'm feeling stressed about, anxious about. You'll notice, like, that's how I started the meditation today. Like, hey, let's notice all of the things that we're stressing about that we think suck, right? Like, that's always what I start with. And then you welcome them because you're going to use this law to heal them. They're going to release and dissolve. And then once I'm in a high vibrational state, once I'm feeling expansive, once I'm feeling loving, once I'm feeling giving, or that abundance of energy, that's whenever I'll go in and assist others. I don't necessarily start until then, right? So if I'm doing an energy work, then I spend, depending on the day, if I'm doing well that day, I might not spend more than 2 or 3 minutes before the session doing work on myself. But if I know I've had a rough day, then I might spend 20 minutes, 30 minutes if I need to.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
And then whenever I get to the energy healing, I'm in a space where there's nothing that they're going through that I can't hold space for.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Total sense. Yeah. Thanks for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
And you can do that anywhere, especially whenever you're kind of newish to this exercise. You might have to take a little bit of time after you get home and you've been in public places, but that's temporary. Long term, you can do this while you're out and about,
Wow.
And like I can be in a crowded shopping market, and if I'm not feeling anxious myself, like if I'm feeling my own anxiety and I didn't work on that first, then yeah, I'm going to bring it home. But if I did not do that, then it's just going to be like a breeze. It comes through, but it doesn't stick.
Wow. Can't wait to start practicing all this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So can I just ask,
Yeah, Robin.
I appreciate Danny asking that question. And can we talk about this again another time? Like you just said all that once, and I think I got it.
You will
like,
have the recording too. Yeah, you can listen to the recording as much as you want.
I need to hear that again. Yeah.
But yeah, divine law of transmutation of energy, like all energy can be recreated. This is just one of the many divine laws. So yeah. And then Colleen, did you have a question? Oh, sorry, Robin, were you not done?
No, it's my shadow dog. He came to do the shadow work with me. That was 3 years ago, and he's awesome.
I love dogs.
And cats. I have good cats too, but the dogs.
Oh, well, yeah, but usually there's one that's like your shadow. Mine is Jade, my office manager.
Yeah. Cute.
Thank you, Robin. Okay, Colleen, did you have a question?
Actually, it was a comment, 2 experiences. One was a couple weeks ago. My dance partner and I walked through the neighborhood for almost 3 hours, just kept walking and walking. And we were considering what was coming up with a virus, and are we going to have to make changes in classes? And what about if we hold them, and hand washing? And for almost 3 hours we walked. And he's a German male physicist, engineer. And I'm kind of like the opposite of that. We make a really good team. But I literally envisioned myself in that Glenda the Good Witch bubble, like a pink bubble, and walked through the neighborhood with him. And I could not believe it. It was like everything, all these negative. I was just like, I was looking at him like how negative can we be? Can we even be more negative? And every so often I'd throw in a positive, like the opposite side of the coin. And it was like he couldn't hear it. He could only see. And he's not as a physicist, he looks for problems all day long and then how to fix them. So this is what he was doing. But for me to be in the presence of that kind of energy for, minutes versus 3 hours, I think I would have just been crawling under a rock. But for 3 hours, it was like it was bouncing off. And I was like totally aware of that it wasn't affecting me. And the entire experience. Then a couple days later, and I don't even know if it was just the consciousness of literally putting that around me so I could stay in that conversation with him. But 3 days later, I didn't do that. Or maybe I just had too much of it. And it was like the first time that I just felt the heaviness of the situation. Mm-hmm. So I didn't do anything after that 3 hour walk. I just felt totally protected, kind of like body, mind, but especially spirit, and blew me away how I could be so unaffected by 3 hours of looking at reality in his mind, but it felt like sort of negativity. And yet then 2 days later when I just didn't do that. So I mean, like, do you have suggestions of put ourselves in that bubble consciously, or what do we do?
Yeah, so the bubble works, right? The bubble works very well. And some people really, really love like using white light, pink light, yellow, gold light. It's really a personal preference. I recommend trying things out. I really do. So Colleen, like your pink bubble works for you. I'd probably say keep using it. Like why would we change that? But if you haven't tried a lot of things yet, I would start with a white or gold bubble. Then I would just play. Like, does that feel, for instance, if I'm in a white bubble, I don't like it. My energy is not do it very well. I mean, I can create it, I'll feel fine, but I don't enjoy it. So I don't actually create a bubble. I don't do any energy protection before I leave the house. I do an energy clearing if I need it whenever I get home, but I have my little touch points, I do my meditation in the morning and I do it in the evening. I have a couple other things I do throughout the day, but that's it. And I pretty much just let myself be beyond that because the bubbles don't work as well for me. Lots of my clients work really well with the bubbles. So I would recommend trial and error, see what works for your energy field, see what actually feels good to you, and go from there.
And is there something that I would do to transmute that energy then? Or just
if you're already in the bubble, then the bubble will either transmute it for you, or you too, Dana. Okay, yeah. Okay, so with the bubbles, depending on how it's set up energetically, it will either transmute the energy. Now with the pink bubble, that's usually set up as a positive protection, right? So it doesn't actually, may or may not transmute the energy. It uses almost like a deflection.
Yeah, that's
which is fine.
Like. And I'd never done that before.
Yeah, and that's fine. That's not really transmutation. Gold energies and white lights tend to be used as absorption and transmutation, but it's really about what feels good to you, and I just play with it. If you want to do the transmutation, I would just ask that the bubble, instead of reflecting, transmute. It's really as simple as asking the energies. And if you ask the energies, they'll generally just comply unless you're really out of alignment with your request, right? If you're asking for something that you don't want to do, that's not going to be as effective. Does that make sense?
So if we were in a meeting and we're talking and I can feel this heavy negative vibes in my own thoughts, I could just ask for it right then.
You could ask for it. I usually recommend beforehand just because sometimes by then the conscious awareness has kind of taken up space. Okay. So it doesn't have the extra energy to reconfigure as easily. But yeah, it'll offer some protection even if it's not perfect.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, really good. Okay, so I've got a couple questions. I'm going to go ahead and mute you, and I'm going to try to answer it. So Sherilyn says, why do you say all energies are neutral? Because they are. Me saying they're good or bad, or I like them or don't like them, is a personal judgment. It doesn't actually have anything to do with them. It has to do with my personal preference to not feel anxiety. So I don't like anxiety. There's still gifts in anxiety. There's still beauty because of the law of duality. If I'm feeling anxious about something, let's say I'm feeling anxious about contracting the virus, right? Like, let's just say I am. I'm not right now. But if I do, then the anxiety might be giving me two things. Number one, I want to feel safe. Number two, I don't actually want to be sick. So those are two different things. So I don't like the anxiety, but it's giving me two messages, and now I can take action on those, right? Wow. So I can say, okay, I would like to feel safe, so I want the emotional experience of safety. And I also don't want to be sick, so I'm going to wash my hands and see what is, what are the experts about this particular thing saying that will keep me healthy. And so I do both of those, right? And then if I'm still feeling anxiety, even though I've done my best to do those two things, then I'm going to go do something else to see where the cause is. Maybe my ego is coming up and telling me that everything sucks and everyone's going to die. Maybe my, I have an anxiety disorder. I have PTSD. And, you know, maybe there's an old memory that's coming up that is asking for my attention and comfort. And so I will go through and give myself that attention and comfort. So the emotions are neutral. The only one who's judging it is us. They're showing up to give us information. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm never going to say negative emotion whenever I have anxiety, because I do not enjoy it in that moment. But through the divine law of transmutation, there is no such thing as a negative emotion or a positive emotion. It's all just emotion. And whenever we get the messages, two things happen. One, the emotions will often release. And two, we can actually take appropriate action for whatever thing we actually want. Right? So if I'm feeling neutral and I go out and let's say I'm surrounded by a family that's coughing, right? When I get home, I'm putting my clothes in the wash. I don't have to feel anxious about that, right? There's no anxiety necessary. Does that make sense? Does that help explain it? Okay, good. Yeah, beautiful. Okay, excellent. So Kylie and Maureen are talking about the chakras. I used to shrink and expand my chakras for what I was doing, right? I don't anymore, but please remember, I've been doing this for a decade. My chakras pretty much just go to whatever size feels best. So if you're unfamiliar with this technique, this is one of the techniques that I talk about a lot in a lot of my YouTube videos and in a lot of my courses. So basically your 7 major energy centers, you can control how big or small they are while keeping the same amount of energy going through them. So if you have, think of it like water pressure, right? If you have every single tap on in the house, you might get just a trickle of energy because all of the taps are on at the same time. And if you put that same amount of water through one spigot, you'll get a ton of water coming through really, really fast. Does that make sense? Whenever you expand your chakras, you're still running the same amount of energy through them. It's really good for tuning in to the collective. It's really good for expanding. I see your hand, Maureen. I'll get to you in just a second. And it's really good for connecting with people if you're doing spiritual work. But whenever you're in public, and let's say like today's not a good emotional day, or you've been really, really absorbing a lot of people's anxiety recently, then putting those chakras smaller, still running clear. You're not looking for blocks. You're not creating a block. You're not restricting energy flow. You're just making them so they're less porous and they're a little bit more inside your body. That's it. That allows your energy to be clear and not pick up as much stuff from other people energetically. So I don't do it anymore. Just because I don't need to after a decade. I still teach all of my students to do it until they just don't feel like they want to or need to anymore. But if you do it for the rest of your life, that's not a problem. Like you're not somehow energetically deficient. Please don't go that way. Okay, Maureen, are you ready? Can I unmute you? We both did it.
I just wanted to say that when my son was in Children's Hospital, and because of my mediumship tendencies, I like drew them in as close as I possibly could for a very long time, and they started to hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to go outside and push them out, like give them a breather. So this is just a side question. Is it possible that not everybody is able to keep them small for very long? That
it's like a muscle. Yeah, it's like a muscle. So if you have, like, if you're generally not keeping them small for long periods of time, and then you have to for a long period of time, energetically, it's hard to do because it's a muscle, you know, like you just haven't practiced it as much. If you needed to, like if you were to practice this for months on end, you'd probably get the strength to do it. Now, that doesn't mean that'd be your body's natural preference. You know, Maureen, you know, I recommend finding the right energetic size for yourself and then going with that and then letting them shift based on what's actually happening in your life. So, you know, this is not a situation where I feel like you need to prepare for that all the time. I think you did the right thing, you know, like go outside, let them out, release some energy, get it out, and then loop them back in, you know, whenever you're ready.
Make the third eye headache go away, please.
Yeah.
I was still able to do intuitive stuff, though, in the hospital. I just, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
I turned the tap down really low, though.
That was good. Smart decision. Thank you, Maureen. All right. Anyone else before I let you go and bless you on your day today? Okay. You all asked some really good questions. So thank you so much for being here live. I so appreciate each and every one of you. And thank you for, you know, I just so value this. So you spent almost 2 hours with me today. So thanks. That's a lot of time. And I don't take that lightly. And it means the world to me. So yeah, thank you. And thank you for everything that you are doing for yourself and the planet right now. And remember that anytime that you need that beautiful divine energy, if you're feeling a little anxious or upset, you can always reach back to that green energy. You know, you can reach back to the feeling that you had with that prayer. That's one of the reasons we did it. So you could always touch it when you need it. All right. Thank you, everyone. You have a blessed rest of your day. And thank you. Bye, everyone.